with Ibu Dian Arymami from Gajah Mada University Communication Department. Good morning, Ibu Dian. Thank you so much for being here with us on the C Morning Show.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here, Ibu Dian. Such a pleasure to have you. So, Ibu Dian, again, Paul was just mentioning the term, the term poverty porn, and I think it's a very catchy term. But I'm pretty sure the meaning behind it is just more in depth. Can you share with us, Ibu Dian?
Well, basically, poverty pornography, or as you mentioned, poverty porn, is generally any type of media, whether it's written, photographed, or film, that exploits or fantasizes poverty to gain sympathy, and usually for entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
And it usually perpetuates a certain narrative and stereotypes of which poverty should be like. And well, the term is usually or commonly used for criticizing people who appear to be helping but are campaigning for certain likes and shares. So, yes.
So we often see this as well. Like I read in the comments all the time, like somebody's doing a good act, but somebody in the comment will always mention, oh, how convenient that there happens to be a camera shooting you while you're doing all of these things, right?
Right.
Now, we mentioned that this is such a phenomenon with social media, but in fact, Budian, this has actually been going on since the 80s when it comes to charities
That is true.
and organizations and how we start seeing hungry children in TV commercials and how we should help do our part. So that is actually how initially this all started. But I have to admit, it has grown a lot more in recent days, in recent years because of social media. So why do we see this happening so much more with individuals and companies creating this sort of content? And why do we, the viewers, love this content so much that we're giving it a platform?
Well, we have to acknowledge that we are in a content-driven era where social media has become such a great part of our lives. And these types of content promotes an emotional response from viewers, where viewers may feel uncomfortable, disconnected, but in a way guilty as well. And this drives a certain high engagement for viewers to the content. While the content creator may be having their hearts in the right place, but they are exploiting and objectifying poverty, real lives, and it violates actually personal rights. And as you say, because if you say that why is this? Why are we giving platform for this? Well, I would say that because in this content-driven era, the high engagement rates are very important to uh, sharing likes and such, where the economy is driven by the media content.
In response to your answer, Ibu Dian, especially right here in Indonesia, we're known for our warmth and our empathy. Don't you see this as such a, in a way, in a good way, where let's say influencers or celebrities are using their platform to help others? What could you say that they did it poorly or a poor exploitation to just what you say? What would be the red line for it? Excuse me.
Well, true. Well, I think that what we should be asking ourselves, or the creator should be asking, is for whose benefit. Is this a winning strategy? Actually, it is true that we are sharing a certain part of real life, but is this the right way to raise awareness, or are we actually raising awareness? When we talk about poor exploitation, as you mentioned, we are actually talking about we are putting people and life in their most vulnerable states, and we are actually embarrassing them. And I think that there is nobody in this world would like to have their most humiliating moment shared across the globe. The truth is, how poverty porn becomes a poor exploitation is because the spotlight of poverty itself is not in the focus of the content and the issues that will actually help poverty. So even though that this type of content may help, it is a short-term fix, and it actually masks the true problem. And I think that that's actually the issue here.
I've read this as well, Budian, and basically, like, to put an example to it would be, you're giving people a false impression that by me giving $100 to this poor person, that it solves poverty, which in case it doesn't, because there's
Right.
hundreds and thousands of other poor people out there, and you're not going to do this with every single person.
Right.
You're doing this with one person, and
Right.
it gives you this kind of like false sense that I'm solving the problem, where in fact you're not solving the problem at all.
Or it goes back to why you're making this kind of content, right? Is it
right.
just for the likes and people seeing you that, oh, you're the good guy?
Right, of course it is, because you're not going to pass by a post like that and not like it, because then you're inhumane. So let me play devil's advocate for you then, Budian. I'll take the opposite stance in this case. Is it still wrong? Because I'm conflicted. When I see a post like this, I'm conflicted. And in one way, I'm thinking, well, this person still is doing a good thing. He's not out there taking money from poor people. In
Right.
fact, he's giving it, even if it's for one person.
Right.
And let's say, for the sake of argument, that he had permission from the person. Let's say, I'm going to video you this interaction, and then if you don't mind, I'm going to post it.
With
And
their
let's say
consent.
and then let's say the person says it's okay. Is
Yeah.
it still wrong then, Budian? Because the intention is still there to not only help, but also to create content. And my second point would be, if a poor person was living on the streets, even if they gave you consent, do they even know? Do they even have social media? Do they know that this view is going to be seen by millions of people? So even if they gave consent, are they giving consent for the right thing? What's your thought, Budian?
Well, I think everybody would have conflicting thoughts on that. But yeah, it is actually, it has many negative impacts in which we have to be aware of.
Okay.
Because image and the social media have a really great impact to, our response and our way of thought, or creating our reality. And the thing about these kind of contents, if it's not done right, or it's not done correctly in its ethical form, well, we create a certain stereotypes, we create myths between poverty, what poverty is. We even create stereotyping about what people, there are hardworking people and there are lazy people. We are saviors and people that are dependents. And these kind of stereotypes are harmful in the long run. And I think again, the most negative impact would be everybody would have, masking the real issue, and we are not going to be able to combat poverty in a more strategic and a holistic and a comprehensive way, because poverty itself is a very complex, systematic issue. So yeah, that's my take.
Agree.
Now, to what you say, Woody, and then how, let's say a company has a CSR program, right? And they're, they're trying to do the good and whatnot to the poor. And then, of course, after, let's say, they're funding, some fundings and whatnot, they post the pictures because they want to show the people that, being a part of that funding, that we're already catered this kind of amount of money to the right people and whatnot. Do you see that as a poverty porn too? Or that is okay to establish, the kind of like real fact checks that they are really giving the fundings to the right people?
Raising awareness.
Yes.
Well, okay. There's a really gray line here, but I do agree that these types of media could be useful and could create or help a lot of people raise awareness as well as funds. But there are ethics to it that we should be also aware that when we talk about poverty, we should be focusing on the issue. So.
Yes.
For NGOs or organization that's helping, there are a few ethical questions that should be addressed, such as how is what are we doing with the money? Is it transparent? Is there an audit? Is there a local agency that could actually enable the money? Whether it's for a long run, or is it just something that
Short line.
just a short term, right? So those are the things that are good to question for institution. But talking about the media itself, then we should be talking about trying to put the poverty itself in focus and reporting poverty. I think whether it's through social media or whether we're doing a documentary, The first thing is having a good statistic to talk about poverty itself. You know, what is the facts, what are the data, and also we should be talking about the system, because poverty is a systematic system and social problem, and also try to show where the solutions may lie, or where the problem actually is. And well, other than that, I guess you know, it's common media ethics, where you know, we should be placing the poverty on the issue, not the individuals. We should not exploit their personal lives and
Yeah.
humiliating vulnerable moments, you know, things like that. So again, I think the real general thing is having the issue for the viewers focused on the problem, so we could combat this poverty together.
Yeah, you're definitely right. It is a very gray area, isn't it, Budian? I mean, when it comes to something
Yes.
like this, we never know exactly where to draw the line until, you know, it becomes clear that, oh, this is actually kind of crossing that line. Thank you so much, Budian, for your time in this discussion. This is something that's very new to me, poverty porn, but the
Yeah.
concept itself is quite an aged concept that we need to be able to tackle with more sensitivity.
Thank you very much, Ibu Dian, for your time.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
Have a great
Have a great
week.
morning to
I
you.
want to share.